What is MHCT Session 5? Who should take the course? Why take the course? What will you learn? And how do I access the course? These are the questions we will answer today. What is MHCT Session 5? MHCT is the Avoiding Foreclosure session created by MAAT Nation that has been revamped and edited from HUD Housing Counselor training in the form of narrated self-paced online video sessions, which include images, quizzes, which are knowledge checks, resource links, and example counseling scenarios. Who should take the course? Each session is designed to prepare you to take the test to become a certified housing counselor with HUD, NACA, or any other authorized housing agency. It has also been designed for prospective and current home buyers, renters, and industry professionals such as contractors, builders, realtors, bankers, and nonprofit entities. Why take the course? Well, in February 2025, the average salary for a housing counselor in the United States was $46,554 per year, or $22 per hour. The salary range for housing counselors varies depending on experience, location, and employment website. Well, it will also broaden your own knowledge, understanding, and skills in the real estate market. But most importantly, think of the rewards that come with assisting individuals and families in need. What will you learn? Well, let's listen to the introduction and objectives. MAAT Counselor Training, Session 5.1, Avoiding Foreclosure, Avoidance Strategies, and Industry Practices. Introduction. Members facing the daunting prospect of foreclosure and of losing their homes due to a financial emergency are in crisis mode. They seek assistance with handling past due bills, determining if they can afford their home in the years to come, and working with servicers to request retention options so they can remain in their homes. In this session, you'll learn about key reasons for foreclosure and industry practices that contributed to the most recent foreclosure crisis, regulatory changes in the mortgage industry created to protect consumers, basic types of foreclosing procedures, and options available to a member who is facing foreclosure. A servicer is a company that handles all the administrative aspects of a loan from the closing to mortgage payoff, including handling the payments, the escrow, and all the documentation for records. A foreclosure is a legal process in which mortgage property is sold to pay the loan of a defaulting borrower. Foreclosure laws are based on the statutes of each state, so they can vary. In Session 5.2, you'll learn about various retention strategies for members to remain in their homes, as well as about mortgage default scams and how to report them. And in Session 5.3, you'll learn about disposition strategies and how to help members transition away from their homes. Before we begin, let's take a look at the session learning objectives. By the end of the session, you will be able to demonstrate comprehension of the events leading up to the most recent increase in foreclosure rates by naming 3 mortgage industry practices that increase rates of mortgage default by borrowers. Demonstrate comprehension of recent regulatory changes and nationwide legal settlements that may help a member avoid mortgage default and foreclosure. Apply knowledge of key foreclosure-related documents for both the judicial and non-judicial process when discussing the foreclosure process with a member. Evaluate a member's financial situation and the reasons the member is facing foreclosure. And finally, apply knowledge of different options available to a homeowner facing foreclosure, such as establishing an emergency budget, helping to determine if the member should stay in the home, and the workout request process. MAAT Housing Counselor Training Session 5.2, Avoiding Foreclosure, Retention Options. Introduction. Recall that Session 5.1 provided an overview of foreclosure, regulatory measures to protect consumers, and where counselors can go to find more information on available loss mitigation, retention programs, and resources. In this session, we move on to a discussion of retention options. To fully support members who are struggling with mortgage payments, foreclosure counselors regularly view retention strategies and often request repayment plans, forbearance agreements, loan modifications, or other loss mitigation options. In order to determine which option is best suited for each member, counselors must be familiar with mortgage servicing processes and loss mitigation requests. In this session, you'll learn about various retention strategies for members to remain in their homes, as well as mortgage default scams and how to report them. In Session 5.3, you'll learn about disposition strategies and how to help members transition away from their homes. All right, let's look at our lesson objectives. By the end of this session, you'll be able to apply knowledge of programs and options for loan modification, refinance, or principal reduction when assessing a member's circumstances for foreclosure prevention options. Demonstrate knowledge of the necessary forms and requirements for a mortgage lender's loss mitigation package. Evaluate a member's information to better discuss appropriate loss mitigation options for a member whose loan is insured by FHA, and apply knowledge of mortgage default scams to describe ways to avoid these scams and where to report being a scam victim. MAAT Housing Counselor Training, Session 5.3, Avoiding Foreclosure, Disposition Options. Introduction. Session 5.1 provided an overview of foreclosure, regulatory measures to protect consumers, and where counselors can go to find more information on available retention programs and resources. Session 5.2 covered retention strategies to help members remain in their homes and discuss mortgage default scams and how to report them. In this session, you'll learn how housing counselors can provide options and resources to help members who are unable to maintain their homes or decide to leave them. You'll learn about the costs and consequences of disposition options such as foreclosure, short sale, and deed in lieu. You'll also learn about the steps involved in transitioning away from the home through foreclosure or other methods and programs that can assist in the process. Lesson objectives. By the end of this session, you'll be able to explain the costs and consequences of a foreclosure, judicial and non-judicial, short sale, or deed in lieu, analyze a member's information if the member seeks to transition away from home ownership, demonstrating knowledge of programs that offer alternatives to foreclosure, Apply knowledge of the foreclosure timeline, processes, and next steps to occur if a member is unable to stay in the home. Devising appropriate action steps to assist the member in recovering from a mortgage default as soon as possible. So how do I access the course? Well, just click the link below the video at www.maaatuniversity.org. You can also contact us at info@maaatuniversity.org.